Thank you, Blake. Thanks for having us. Thanks for organizing everything and putting this together and leading.
All right, let's roll. So thank you guys so much for being here with me tonight. And I'm so excited to have all the challengers here with us tonight for the Vibrant You Health Challenge, brought to you by Nature's Pantry and all these lovely health pros and I'm going to introduce you to them. And I got to tell you, each one of these people here are very special to me. They're the sponsors for this event, and each of them have inspired me and have just taught me so much and encouraged me in my health journey. And so I just want to thank you each. And I just want to turn it over to Nicole first and just ask you a few questions, Nicole. And we'll just go through, like 4 minutes each. We'll go through these questions. So just tell me first, like, what's your name and what you do and why you're passionate about health.
I am Nicole Haggerty, holistic lifestyle coach, and I am super passionate about health because I was sick myself, and I just got sick of not getting help where I needed it from the medical world. So I took matters into my own hands, and it led me down a rabbit hole of a really long journey into changing my food and changing my lifestyle and seeing really awesome results. And so I just decided, well, I need to keep going with this. And it's been amazing. So that's what I do. That's why I'm passionate about health, because I want people to know that they can have that too. They can feel good. They can live an exciting life. And it legit is just these little simple things that we do now, like we say, will turn into big habits later. So that's my spiel.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your passion for this. And tell me, like, what your favorite thing about the challenge. And then, do you believe in the principles of, obviously you touched on this a little bit, but do you believe in the principles of this challenge to prevent disease and heal? And what do you have to say to your challengers to encourage them?
Yes, I love those questions. I do very much believe in all of the principles of the challenge, because in health coaching school, we pretty much had a model like this where we were coaching ourselves, and a lot of the things are just spot on to what I learned and adapted in health coaching school, which just, causes me to go even further into everything. And I like that, in a challenge like this, it's good to keep an open mind, because, we have to grow. And in order to do that, we have to keep an open mind. And a lot of that, in my opinion, has to do with maybe a spiritual side, like maybe if you have trouble making decisions or quieting your mind, you might need a little meditation or, something like that. So I would say that the spiritual and the meditation side has been my favorite part, because it has taught me to be more mindful. And it's also improved my quality of life, really, because I'm the type of person that I'm always go, go, go. And I didn't feel like I had time to meditate before. And the signs were showing me, you need to meditate everywhere I looked. And I was like, nope, that's not me. I can't do it. That's weird. But then I actually started doing it. And it's just like riding a bike. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And that's not just with the meditation, but the whole thing. So that's what I love about it. And just to encourage everyone to keep an open mind. And, when you're going through these things, a lot of them you might already be doing, but just be more mindful of them and, ask for help when you need it, ask questions when you need it. And remember, we're all in this together.
Oh, thank you so much for I just love your passion. I love your input. I'm so thankful for your support. So Tim, tell me, how about you? What's your name? What do you do?
My name's Tim, and I'm here to help people. It's Tim James, founder of chemicalfreebody.com, friends with most of the other health coaches here, especially Lasa. We go back quite a ways. It's always good to see you, girl. And, I got into this industry just kind of like Nicole. I was chasing money and my health ended up in the gutter. Lots of problems, gained a bunch of weight. My gut was jacked up. I was bleeding rectally. That's a lot of fun. And a buddy of mine got cancer. We went to a healing institute in Florida called Hippocrates Health Institute. We learned about raw plant-based foods, started to incorporate all this stuff in our life and juicing. I healed myself. literally healed myself. And that really empowered me because I didn't think that I had that power. And I'm just like, I did this myself. Like I've been going to my doctor for years and they just want to put me on pills and Prilosec for my heartburn and all this other stuff. So I'm like, I got to tell everybody about it. And people like Lasa know, like if I get on something, I'm freaking going 100%. So, and that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And I'm 47 today. And I literally feel like I'm 19. I've got abundant energy. And I like, again, like Nicole and the other gals sitting here and you, Blake, I have to tell people about it. It's a moral obligation because our society is so sick today. 3.3 trillion spent on healthcare. We're ranked like 38th to 42nd in the world in health. It's ridiculous. The more money we put into that system, it's broken. Why would you even go into it? So we have to get back to nature, period. And if you don't get anything else out of this challenge tonight, it's nature. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do this stuff. Clean up your gut. Go to Nature's Pantry. That's where I shop when I go back home to the Grand. You know, that's a doorway to nature, and get the healthy, fresh foods from them. And that's kind of my story. So I'm excited to be here.
Oh, that's so cool. So you have seen firsthand, both of you, Nicole and Tim, you've seen the power of nutrition and fundamentals of health to heal the body, to prevent disease. I know you both worked with many people. What kind of encouragement do you have for challengers, Tim? What kind of like, how can you motivate them or?
Well, I think motivation actually, you know, you don't get motivated. What you do is you take action and then motivation follows the action. So, you know, that's the thing. And just take baby steps. We talked about this, I think the last time. It's like, don't get overwhelmed by everything because there's a lot of things that you can change, but let's just focus on the one thing. You know, maybe that's drinking lots of purified water, starting with that and getting water into your diet. And, you know, getting the sugars out and, you know, doing some meditation, just some basic things, chewing your food until liquefied. Oh my God, mom was right. It's a game changer. That's one of our core 4 secrets that we teach. I have people that pay me thousands of dollars a month. Think about that. A month. I can't even believe it. And what do I teach them? Drink water, chew food, avoid liquids with meals, and do some breath work before you eat. And guess what? They get results. I just had a gal left me a voice message. I'd play it right now for you, except she left her phone number and I haven't edited it yet. And she said, hearing you on the podcast was like a gift from God. And she goes, I've been practicing those 4 core secrets and my anxiety in my chest is gone. My gas and bloating's better. And what did that cost her? Like nothing except maybe getting a water purifier. And how hard is it to chew your food, right? Avoid liquids with meals so you don't dilute your digestive enzymes, and do some breath work to bring your blood back into your organ systems because we're all in stress mode today. This changed her life and it was free. So that's, you know, those are just a few things right there.
Yeah. That's so great. I love your passion and how much you've helped me through the years. I just appreciate you and thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for having me in to help out with this challenge. And, you know, all of us here are just like only about 1 step ahead of everybody else listening, maybe 2 or 3, but just take that first step, make it easy. And we're here to support you and help you and guide you and do whatever we can. But it's going to be up to you. You're going to have to take the first step and you're going to have to do the work.
Yep. Thank you so much. All right. How about you, Summer? Tell us about who you are, what you do.
My name is Summer Steele. Am I too echoey? Can you hear me okay?
It's okay.
Okay. I'm a trainer at Mountain Valley Fitness and a self-defense instructor. I'll stop there.
So tell me, why are you passionate about health, Summer?
Similar to Nicole and Tim, I have some chronic autoimmune issues and some injuries that have developed into chronic pain. And so it's led me on a way more in-depth journey than I ever suspected I would take when I first started getting into all the health and fitness. But then I figured out that I love seeing people improve when they think that they're done, when they think that there's no hope, or, oh, I just have this bad knee and it'll never change. Or, oh, my back, I just have a bad back. I can't hike with my kids anymore. Or I can't play Legos on the floor with my grandkids anymore. Things like that. I love empowering them to do what it is that gives their life meaning. And sometimes that's just a little extra movement, pain-free, so they can connect with people they care about. So that, I think, is a huge motivator for me. And then beyond that, just realizing that as a trainer, movement nutrition really is a portal to a lot of other ways to improve yourself, be it mental toughness, self-discovery, healing. Like I think that this challenge is going to open the door for a lot of people.
Well, thank you so much. And you've even experienced the power of this health and healing of these principles in your own life and your husband's life as well, haven't you?
Yeah. My husband was diagnosed with Graves' disease, hyperthyroidism, in the form of an autoimmune disease. And he'd been going to doctors for years, and they wanted to do surgery or radiation. And I asked him if he would just give me like a few months of proper nutrition before he did the radiation or the surgery. And then we asked his specialist. We went to so many specialists, and we asked if it was okay, like if nutrition could be affecting his autoimmune disease at all, and they laughed at us. But when we went back after, they said there's no remission after 5 years, you have to have the radiation, whatever. We went back and they did blood work, and they're like, well, you can go off your medication now if you like. And he never did get the radiation or the surgery. He just has to watch his nutrition, which was a huge eye-opener for both of us.
Wow, that's powerful. What would you say to encourage challengers and how to, get past some of these hurdles that we're going to face in the challenge?
I would encourage people to trust the process. Every person is an individual, but we're also humans with a lot of commonalities. And I want to encourage people that you did not just pull these things out of thin air one day, because you wanted to use your imagination. You borrowed these ideas from people that have done a lot of research and had a lot of clinical success. So I would encourage people not to reinvent the wheel and to trust the process. And just because something didn't work for the first few days or the first week or two, be willing to just commit to it for that. What is the challenge? 4 weeks?
Yep.
Yeah, be willing to commit to the 4 weeks and just see the change that it has in your biology. And then I would also encourage you to track your progress, which I believe is part of the challenge. Is your sleep getting better? Is your mental health a little better? It's not always just about the weight, although that's a really great side effect oftentimes, but be tracking these other things to see if you don't notice an improvement, and then trust the process.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Summer. Appreciate your input and your, the power of your testimony, and just appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, Lasa, tell me about yourself and what you do and why you're passionate about health.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lasa Baxter. I also work at Mountain Valley Fitness and Health. I also have my own business, Wild Holistic Nutrition and Fitness. My background, I guess one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this is that I have witnessed so many people that are not getting the fullest out of life. They're not having the fullest out of their life experience. And although we may be living longer than ever before, we're often living more sick than we were before. And I've seen client after client who, when they've implemented holistic approaches, and as Tim mentioned, bringing nature back into things, as Nicole mentioned, bringing some kind of spirituality into it and some meditation, bringing things back to basic whole health, removing the processed foods, removing the sugars, removing garbage oils and all those kind of things. And then just taking your time, slow down, take your time, enjoy this life. And as Summer mentioned, so many people having trouble with movement and just the ability to enjoy and engage with their loved ones because their movement is inhibited. And so much of that stems from what we eat and what we put in our body. Whether it's food or whether it's water, what we're putting into our body matters, and it matters enough that it's what heals us. It's what makes us function at the best and the highest level that we can to be effective. I love what Tim said about, or maybe it was Nicole, not knowing that you had the capability to heal yourself, and you do. And I think the most empowering thing is that you have control, you have it in your own hands to produce the best possible life. as I get older, as I'm aging, I notice when these minor nuances, if I am not following this type of lifestyle, my movement is inhibited. I'm more uncomfortable. My joints hurt. I don't feel as good. I don't have as much stamina or endurance. My body just doesn't feel as good. Maybe I'm sluggish. Maybe I'm less patient with those that I care about. Maybe my motivation or my drive is lacking. But when I implement the things that I know work, it's a switch to a completely different life and a completely different way of living that's full and exciting, and it feels good. And you just, part of me is so passionate about this because I want to live in a community that feels like that, where everybody has that kind of passion and drive and excitement about life, and they feel good, so they can all engage with each other in that way, in a positive way, and they can all help and serve and give back to each other because they have the energy to do that and they feel good about doing it. My dad is sick and has become sick, and in watching that take place and knowing what can change and what can heal that, and seeing what can change and what can heal that, has become very personal. And so not just with my clients, but also watching family members experience it and knowing what is helping them feel better, and seeing that. So I guess one of the things for me is that these are all our testimonies that we're sharing with you, but I'm kind of a science and fact person too. And the things that Blake has placed on your challenge list, there's so much science to back it up too. It's not just our testimonies. And I think those are worth a lot, but there's a lot of research and science, you guys, to back it up as well. And that's what I think is important.
Thank you so much. That's really powerful testimony. And I always appreciate hearing your perspective. Tell me what you would say to people to encourage them in this challenge and to get past some of the obstacles they might face in the way.
The first thing that comes to my mind is be open. Relax and be open. You stepped into this for a reason. So try not to fight the process. Go with the process. I think Summer said that already, but be open-minded to change. One of the things that I think has always helped me to progress the most quickly when I'm trying to make change, and that I would like to suggest to them, is, Nicole said this, they're probably doing a lot of these things already. So those kind of things they want to just kind of continue with their natural pattern. They've already implemented those. But take a look at, what is the next thing I'm just trying to achieve? Why did I sign up for this? And really hone in on being specific. What was it that I wanted to achieve? Write down 3 things and then prioritize the first one, and really set that as your first example so that you don't get overwhelmed. Simplify it, find that one thing, and then I swear everything else will fall into place and start rolling with it. Once number 1 comes into play, it's like number 2 and number 3 start following suit pretty easily. But if you pick at least one thing and let that be your first priority so that you don't get overwhelmed, I think you'll make progression faster towards whatever it is that your goals are.
Yeah, that's really wise. Some good wisdom here for the challengers. Well, I'm just going to say, any of you folks attending right now, if you have any questions for these health pros, type them in the chat. Go ahead and type them in the chat for us, because I'm going to let them go here shortly, and we're going to get into the details of the program. Our goal is going to be done by 7. And so we're going to go through the details of this program so everybody has a firm understanding of how to do it. But if you have any specific questions for the health pros, for Lasa, Tim, Nicole, or Summer, go ahead and type those in the chat, and we can address those before we let them go. Yeah, I always just appreciate, it's so nice to have you guys to get your input, and I always appreciate collaborating with all of you, and it really helps sharpen me and helps me get better. And I've just, honestly, when I think about all the things, I think of each one of you have contributed to my understanding and having a more well-rounded view of health and fitness and healing and how to do that. And so I just really appreciate that. There's a question here from Janet Fry. It says, Lasa said something about garbage oil. I'm wondering what that would be. And we'll get into, we have a list of approved oils for this that we'll send out to you. So we'll get to those details, but go ahead. You can address that if you'd like. Lasa and anybody else too. Go ahead, Lasa.
I'm going to start typing it in the chat. I guess specifically to make it, I'm going to make it more simple, and we'll go with what I think is really quality oil. So simplify: extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil. Sometimes people get caught up, I think, and think about organic, so that you're making sure that you're not getting anything in there that you don't want as far as fertilizers or sprays or things, chemicals that you don't want. And then avocado oil, coconut oil. Coconut oil, though, is one that if you're using it for cooking, you guys, it doesn't have a very high flash point, and so it can burn quickly and become carcinogenic, both in fumes in the air and breathing it, and on your food. So it's better used in, so to speak, things like a dressing, if you're using oils and things like that in a dressing.
Yeah.
Specifically things to avoid: canola oil, corn oil. There are numerous, but those would be ones I would definitely try to avoid. But those three, I think you're safe in the zone of extra virgin olive oil, avocado, and coconut.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. Are there any other questions for the health pros? I think I'm going to let them go, and we're going to get into the program here. Jeanette says, thank you.
I would also add to that, if you're looking at oils, we always teach people to you only want cold pressed oils. You don't want oils that are expeller pressed, because expeller pressed it's called an expeller machine, and they put the nut or the seed through there, and it's high pressure, and that creates heat, which can then change that, that fat into a lipid peroxide. That's a known carcinogen. So expeller pressed oils are out. If you're going to cook, you always want to cook at the lowest temperatures possible, but cold pressed, organic, and make sure that the jars are in a really dark amber, dark green jar, and then keep that oil in the cupboard, not on the countertop where the sunlight can hit it, because that's going to denature it. So keep it in a dark, cold spot. And those would be a couple good tips.
Cool. Thank you, Tim. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, I can't express to you how much I appreciate you, Tim and Nicole and Summer and Lasa, and we'll be in touch, and I'm sure you all will be, encouraging our challengers throughout the challenge. And I appreciate your engagement and the mission you have to help people with their health.
Thanks, Blake. Appreciate it, brother.
All right. I'll let you, whoever needs to go can go, and we'll get on with the thing.
Thank you, Blake.
You want me to say something about the 7-day reset?
Yes, go ahead. Let's go ahead. And so this 7-day reset that so those of you who have done the health challenge before, there's 4 weeks, and every week there's a program you follow, and we'll get into the details of this in just a minute. But on the 4th week, we're going to have an optional 7-day reset that was developed by Nicole. So if you're at a point where you want to do this detox on the last 7 days, it's optional for you. I encourage anybody who wants to do it. I think my wife, Missy, and I are probably going to do it this time, but if you just want to focus on the challenge this first time, then that's totally fine too. And we'll get into more details. Go ahead and explain it for us briefly, Nicole.
So it's just a plant-based 7-day reset, and it consists of a little bit of mindfulness as well. The idea is to kind of slow down for the 7 days and take a vacation from processed foods and toxic things. And so you'll be eating the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the 7 days. And the reason I did that is because I picked all of these foods specifically for healing the gut, because I'm a firm believer that if we start healing the gut, then we can heal the rest of the body. And so you begin each day drinking a detox bomb, which consists of lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and apple cider vinegar. And then going for a brief walk. It can be as little as 5 minutes or up to 25 minutes. But walking first thing in the morning is really nice because it jumpstarts our metabolism, and it's really good for weight loss. And plus it's good just to get moving. So, but anyways, the breakfast would be an oatmeal, and I like to add protein to the oats. And of course, choosing organic is always best. And then lunch is just a huge salad with tons of greens and some edamame for protein, because the edamame in a half of a cup has 9 grams of protein, and then some chickpeas too, because those have a lot of protein and are really good for us with the fiber. And then of course, if you get hungry, you're allowed to snack, but you just have to keep it, you know, fruits and vegetables, avocado, blueberries, things like that. And again, I picked these things specifically because they are healing to the gut. And then bone broth is allowed, because bone broth is actually also really healing to the gut lining. And then dinner is just a huge vegetable soup. And of course, if there is an ingredient in there that you can't have or you don't like, it can be adjusted for dietary needs or any allergies or things like that. But I just want to encourage everyone, like, if you want to try the reset, of course, I will be there to support through the whole thing. So will Blake and everybody else. I'm sure they're pretty familiar with things like this. But just remember to keep it simple. And if, you know, you get tired of the flavors, for instance, the soup will probably last you like 4 days. So you'd have to make it again. You could change up the spices and the herbs and things like that. Because a lot of people are like, I don't know if I could eat the same thing for 7 days, but you probably drink the same coffee drink every day, right? This is not really that much different than that. So just remember, you just have to keep an open mind. And, you know, if you don't like something, you can change the herbs and spices or the vegetable for something that is comparable.
Yes. Yes. So I think this is a really cool addition. I think one of the biggest things we need today is a really rigorous detox, like a reset of the body. And what Nicole has developed with her many years of experience is a really good way to do that, and actually a really short way that she's developed to do that in a really effective manner. So we'll have.
Sorry, that was one thing I wanted to touch on. I had a test group, and a couple of the ladies are actually here in the challenge, complete this back in December, and everybody averaged losing a pound a day in the 7 days. And a few of the ladies didn't even complete the whole challenge. One of them made it to day 5, and she had actually lost 8 pounds by day 5. So just remember, and it's not specifically for weight loss. I didn't create it for that. I literally created it for a vacation from processed foods, but weight loss is a nice side effect of it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Very awesome. Okay, well, let's dive right into our, just the overview. So again, just the thanks to the Health Bros and we're just so glad to have all of you who are attending. I saw Kelly and Brandy and Glinda and Janet and Brandy, Jill, Julia, Jeannie. And I'm so glad to have you all, Julie and Laura, Mandy. Good to have all you guys, and Rebecca, Ruth, Sarah, Victoria, Wendy. There's Whitney. So glad to have you all with us. And, you know, this challenge has been built over a long time and had a lot of input from a lot of people and a lot of things that have kind of I've learned over the years. And one of the things that I think is important to note, that this challenge, and like Nicole said, this entire challenge is not about weight. Focusing on weight, I don't think is a really healthy or sustainable way to do a health challenge. This is not a fad diet or a quick fix. This is about learning a lifestyle that can lead to vibrant health for life, that can strengthen your immune system, that can strengthen your overall health. This is about putting in the fundamental practices of health that can prevent many of the chronic diseases that are out there today, with heart disease, diabetes, cancer, obesity, autoimmune disorders, gut problems, skin issues. A lot of these issues originate in the health habits we have in our nutrition, in our sleep, in our exercise, in our environment. And so this is about learning those things so that you can not only, these are simple but very powerful tools that can not only prevent all of these diseases and many more, but also even been shown to reverse these types of chronic issues. You know, today with what we've been experiencing with COVID-19, and we're seeing people who are getting critically ill are people who have underlying conditions. And so the principles we're talking about not only can help prevent and reverse these underlying conditions, but they can strengthen your immune system so that you're able to fight illness and disease and virus and bacteria. They're going to put you in a much more strong immune stance. And so, you know, I think this is just one of the things we've learned about this challenge. And I know, like, at the beginning, it was a little over 1 year ago, before the new year. And I was thinking, if at Nature's Pantry, our mission is to lead people to vibrant health, we have to help people change their lives. Like, literally, people have to be able to change their lives and for it to mean anything. Otherwise, we're just saying words, and they're not doing anything. And so, and this idea of this challenge came to us, where it's like, if we can, and we believe this is one of the best ways for people to actually change, is to actually apply these principles in their daily life, engage in the process, come into a situation in a group, in a challenge where you're challenged to take this on, where you have a group to support you, to hold you accountable, to encourage you on the way. And so I just want to encourage you. I want to affirm you that you're here doing this. I think this is one of the best things you go from the 7-8 years that I've been studying health and applying it in my own life, and from what I've learned from these health pros that are sponsoring the challenge, and from what I've learned from many, many doctors that I've read their books and health professionals. These principles are literally the foundation. They can change your life and change even your family's life, your family's legacy. You know what, like Lasa touched on, a lot of times in this society today, we put health on like the first order on our budget shopping list. We put our groceries and our, you know, we put it on the lowest end of the totem pole. But what good are all the other priorities in life if you can't fully live your life to be the fullest version of yourself? If you can't live your life to the full, to be serving your family and friends, to make a positive impact and have full life your entire life, and quality of life your entire life. All right, so let's dig in here. So we're going to get into the details of this challenge. So I emailed out the program guide. I think at this time I'm going to open up this program guide, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I sent you this all in email, and you can use this challenge, this program guide, to fill out your points every day. And okay, so let's talk about nutrition. We talked about some of this. So what do we need to avoid? What are some of the things we need to avoid? Like we touched on already: processed food, fried food, refined flour, refined sugar. These things have been shown are, you know, when they initially came out, I don't think the intention was bad. The intention was to feed people. But what we're starting to learn over the last 50 years is how detrimental these things are to our health on so many levels. Refined sugar is one of the most detrimental things to your immune system that exists, and feeds nearly every disease known to the planet. Sugar, for instance, can actually deactivate vitamins vitamin D's ability to regulate the immune system. And I think that's why we'll notice if we take sugar in when we're starting to get sick, we'll actually not fight it off as well, or we'll get sicker. We can go into that for a long time. One of the biggest threats we face today is our increase of sugar in all forms. In 1800, the average person ate 5 pounds of sugar per year. Guess how many pounds of sugar we eat now? 152 pounds per year. That is a huge 5 pounds 200 years ago. Now we're eating 152 pounds. The Greek physician Pericles said the dose makes the poison. And at the dose we're eating sugar today in our society, it is literally killing us, poisoning our bodies. If you were going to cut one thing, if you drink sugary drinks or pop and you were going to do one thing and cut that, that could be one of the best things you could ever do for your health. Not only for your health, but also would be a substantial thing to help lose weight if that's one of your goals. I also wanted to touch on the GMOs and chemicals. So I didn't 100% buy into this. Here, I'm going to come back to I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second. I'm going to come back to this. So I didn't really buy into this, but then I watched a movie called Secret Ingredients, and that's actually on a list. I'm actually going to send you guys a recommended movie and books list that you can look over. And Secret Ingredients was a movie I was introduced to. And basically the underlying point of the whole movie that I got was that GMOs and pesticides are causing tons of disease in our society today. But here's the gist of it. Like, I believe God created us and the food to match together. And when you start genetically modifying the food, it's not matching anymore with your body. And so Roundup was actually invented as an industrial drain cleaner. When it came out, it killed all the vegetation around. And so they modified it to make it into a pesticide, or an herbicide rather, to kill weeds. And what they found was, well, shoot, it's killing some of the crops too, and it's not quite killing all just the weeds. And they couldn't quite get it right. And so this was when genetic modification was coming out, and they started genetically engineering the plants to withstand to Roundup. And so that's what you call Roundup Ready crop, is it is genetically modified to withstand Roundup. And so it doesn't die when you spray Roundup in the fields. And then you have these guys out there spraying in hazmat suits, spraying Roundup on your food that you're putting in your body. It doesn't quite match up. But so you have this genetically modified food that's not matching your body, and then you're spraying an industrial drain cleaner on it. I think we might end up with some problems by eating that kind of stuff, okay? I wanted to touch on diet, like water versus oil in our diet, and we talked a little bit about oils. Your body is over 60% water, and in fact, some of your organs, like your brain, are over 80% water. And so what's important to note about this, excuse me a sec. I just realized I had gum that was giving me a trouble there. Okay, so what your body is such a percent water. And so if we think about what doesn't mix with water, oil doesn't mix with water, okay? And what foods are high in water and what foods are high in oil? Plant foods are high in water, animal foods are high in oil, okay? So, and we also know that a high oil diet will lead to higher blood pressure, higher cholesterol, increased risk of the whole gamut of diseases, including cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and even Alzheimer's. And so I think that's an interesting point to just consider about what's going to match up with your body better. Okay, let's talk about what to add more of. And just furthermore, like when we talk about meat or no meat, that's not the goal of this challenge. Like, I don't care if you go completely whole food, plant-based, or if you say, I'm never going to stop eating meat and animal products. I don't care. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is not to do something specifically one way. The goal is to improve. And one thing I think that's important to think about, and one thing that occurred to me, I think somebody brought this up recently, was the common denominator between keto and vegan. There's people that say, oh, vegan, people say keto, and there's these big crazed diets. And you know what and they both work to lose weight, but you can go the wrong ways and they can actually not be good for your health. And so But the common denominator in those diets that help people lose weight and feel healthy is they cut out the crap. They cut out processed flour, processed sugar, and they add in whole, real food, like that was grown on a plant and not made in a plant. And that's really the common denominator. And so again, the goal of this isn't to go vegan, or I believe personally, a whole food plant-based diet is the best optimal diet for health. But I think, and I'll get into this a little bit, but there's a couple different programs, books that I've used through the years to learn on. But, you know, I think wherever you're at, whatever your goals are, that's fine. Just move. The idea is progress. The idea is improvement, not perfection. I think everybody's different, and everybody has different needs and different social structures and different families and different situations where you need to do what's best for you. And so I just encourage you to, wherever you're at, use that common denominator. Add in more real whole food. Add in more fruits and vegetables. Add in those, you know, eat an apple a day, eat a salad a day. You know, instead of eating, you know, getting real food that's as close to the way it comes without being processed as possible. I think it's important to note that you are what you eat. So your body, your cells in your body are actually recreating themselves constantly. And some different parts of the body take longer than others. The hair, men is 3 years, for women it's 6 years. Your liver can be as often as 150 days it's regenerating. Stomach and intestines can regenerate as fast as 5 days. Your bones are constantly being regenerated, but they can take, the whole process of regeneration takes 10 years. So the old saying, you are what you eat, is absolutely true, because your body is remaking itself out of what you're putting in your mouth, out of what you're putting in your body. That's what your body is rebuilding itself out of. So my two favorite programs currently are Undo It by Dr. Dean Ornish and the Daniel Plan by Rick Warren. And these two plans both focus on real whole food. The Daniel Plan has animal products in it, clean, organic, pasture raised, you know, good animal source foods, salmon, fish, eggs, but of course, heavily on the whole food plant-based as well, the Daniel Plan. Undo It, they say the whole goal of their diet is to prevent and reverse disease. And so that diet it recommends no animal products at all, because that's the best way to actually reverse disease, to reverse heart disease. And actually, Dr. Dean Ornish spent 16 years working with Medicare to get his nutrition program approved to be a treatment for reversing heart disease. And he spent 16 years, and that was recent, early 2000s. His nutrition and lifestyle program was to feel free to chime in anytime, Lasa. And you're welcome to chime in anytime if you like. And I think that's really cool that, you know, they got to the point where it's approved by Medicare. So again, I just briefly mentioned this, but the Daniel Plan is healthy carbs, healthy fat, healthy protein, healing spices, drinks, and superfoods. And Undo It is low in bad carbs and bad fats, high in good carbs, and with you want enough good fats, and the right amount of plant-based protein, and very low in animal protein, if any. And so the other thing that I think is cool, and both these programs are very similar to what you're doing. And I want to say that they have had huge success in helping people live fully healthy lives and reversing chronic health situations. In the Daniel Plan, they had resolution of chronic symptoms and diseases like asthma, allergies, headaches, irritable bowel syndrome, acid reflux, autoimmune disease, depression, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, acne, and skin issues such as eczema, psoriasis, brain fog, fatigue, and insomnia. And like I said, Dr. Dean Ornish's program has actually been proven to and approved by Medicare to treat and reverse heart disease. And it's a holistic, it's not just nutrition. Dr. Dean Ornish's program has 4 components: eat well, move more, stress less, love more. And the Daniel Plan has 5 components: faith, food, fitness, focus, and friends. And so the Daniel Plan is a faith-based program, and Undo It is not so much, I would say. And so I encourage you, those 2 books are on your suggested reading. They're 2 of my favorite books. I just want to touch on how food is medicine. And I know we've touched on this a little bit, but it's been said that when the diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. And when the diet is correct, medicine is of no need. Okay. Thanks for those little nice tips there in the chat box, Lasa. I like those. And then, so another thing that's important is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's so true. It usually takes more changes in diet and lifestyle to reverse disease than it does to prevent it. So if you're in a chronic disease state, you may need to go further in your choices to reverse that than somebody who is simply trying to do the best they can to prevent it. Okay? When you provide the conditions for a thriving human being and you remove the impediments to health, disease often simply goes away as a side effect. Okay, that's from the Daniel Plan. Food is medicine. Food has the power to heal us. It's the most potent tool we have to help prevent and treat many of our chronic diseases. Truly, what you put on your fork dictates whether you are sick, well, slim, fat, depleted, or energized. And like I said earlier, many of us, we focus on, I know I've talked to friends and I've been here too. I remember when I got married, I told Misty we were going to live a life of great value, referring to the Walmart brand. And how wrong I was, and I didn't know. And it wasn't too long after that I started working here. And we haven't bought that brand for many, many years. But the point is, I know that a lot of times our grocery budget ends up first on the chopping block because it's the place that we have the most flexibility. And so we go to buy bulk from Costco or Walmart or whatever, you know, and we end up getting some of those foods are like the worst possible foods because they're so highly processed. Because in order to make food that cheap, you have to make it processed. You have to mass produce it. You have to put, you know, lots of oil and sugar and salt in it to make it hold up. I heard a joke once from the mortuary that they said they didn't need to embalm people anymore because they already were when they came in. And I thought that was kind of gross and sad. But anyway, I think the thing is, we need to remember that health is the greatest wealth. And what are all the material possessions in the world worth if we don't have our health to enjoy our family and our friends and the things we have? And now I think it's important to point that actually when you buy whole food, it's often whole real food is more affordable. Even whole real organic food is more affordable than buying processed food because processed food comes with so much effort and marketing and everything else that goes with it. When you go, you know, if you went to the grocery store and you bought all produce and some eggs and some whatever, and you go versus the bill of somebody who bought everything from Center Store out of boxes, I guarantee you the Center Store ticket is going to be way more money. And I think we all know that anyway. So yeah, I think, and the other thing is I think it's important to talk about the health costs, right? Like I mean, a lot of times I think in our culture today, we end up, our healthcare, it's like we have insurance to cover our healthcare. And so we don't go certain routes because it's not covered by our insurance, or we're just like, okay, I got this insurance to take care of it. But if we really added up the cost of our healthcare in our lifetimes, of what it really costs, even what the insurance pays and everything, it'd be staggering. And I think if we were in a situation where where insurance actually started being allowed to pay for natural remedies. I think a lot of times people choose conventional because that's what their insurance pays for. Whereas if insurance, I think we would see a little more of a real free market situation where the conventional would maybe kind of come down and we'd have natural come up a little bit and be more competitive. And then I think you'd see conventional. And I'm not against modern medicine by any stretch. I just think that sometimes we skip the underlying cause of disease and we go straight to the symptom and just block the symptom. Well, symptoms are your body's alarm system telling you that something's wrong. And if we just turn that off, then we're just pushing an issue down the road and it will be compounded and become even worse potentially, or lead to even more issues. And the drugs that we take for that symptom can lead to other symptoms and loss of limbs and sudden death and et cetera, et cetera. You know the drill. But the point is, the root cause, we're missing the root cause, which often is our diet and lifestyle. And so I could keep going on that for a long time because I have a lot of examples from friends and stuff who have gone to the doctor and they're, they just need to drink some water or, deal with stress or something, but they end up coming out with a prescription or 2 or 3. And the stories are endless. And some of these books I recommend and movies I recommend to you will go into detail of some of these stories. And I'm sure some of you experience this stuff too. Okay, so nutrition. So that's that first category. And I want to just pull up, I'm just going to show you this program guide. Okay, so that's that first. So every day you're going to track your points. So you got January 31, February 1st, and every day you go down through your list and you write your points down. So with the nutrition category, you have 1 point per meal for a whole plant-based organic and or minimally processed meal. So this leaves that open, the and or there, this leaves it open for you to get points if you're improving, okay? We're not trying to be strict or rigid. I'm trying to leave it open for you to get points for improvement, okay? We're trying to add in whole, real food. We're trying to do organic wherever we can. We're trying to avoid processed food, okay? So then you also, what's recommended, 5 to 9 servings of fruits and veggies per day is ideal. I think I've tried to measure this. A serving is a half a cup, by the way. I probably get, most days I probably get close to that, but I didn't used to. And yeah, so that's just kind of a benchmark there for you. But the max you can get per day is 3 points. So 1 point for every meal if it fits within these guidelines and is an improvement for you, okay? Then you get 1 point per meal for recipes from an approved plant-based cookbook. So we've given you some cookbooks, and I think there might be one, like the Daniel Plan cookbook is probably with animal products. So if you want to go that route, or you can find, I think it has to be from the approved list though. Okay, you get one, and honestly, most people aren't doing a lot of this, but it is there as a bonus point for you if you do it. It's a good way to learn recipes. We're also going to do some cooking classes for you that we'll talk about in a minute. You also get 1 point for every whole, fresh fruit or vegetable consumed as a healthy alternative or snack, like an apple or cucumber, max of 2 points a day. And so this is like, eat an apple, eat a whole cucumber, find a whole or a handful of almonds, or a real boiled egg, or whatever it is for you that you like, that's a whole real food that's not processed whatsoever. Add those in as your snacks. Have some of that stuff handy for snacks and for in between meals, or even for meals, whatever works for you. A lot of times for breakfast, I'll do like a couple pieces of fruit, some nuts, and so I do a lot of different things, but that's sometimes what I'll do is eat a couple pieces of fruit. And I'm not a huge breakfast person, but I won't get into all the details of that because it's too much information. All right, so, and then 3 points for avoiding all of these. So every day, if you avoid all of this list, you get 3 points, okay? So if I don't have any refined flour and sugar, bad oils, and there's that list I'll send out of the oils, okay? There's approved oils. If you don't have heavily processed food, fast food, fried foods, and alcohol. So I say see approved oil and sugar list, okay? So max 3 points. So if you avoid all those in a day and you don't have any of those, you get 3 points right there. So that's a big ticket number, okay? Lasa, do you have anything to add? I'm going to move on to supplementation. Do you have anything to add for nutrition before we move?
Well, hopefully, I don't know if they're looking at the chat or not. I did put just some basics, very, very basic things in there, but this is really about going back to nature and back to basics. And the one thing that if I could plant a seed in everyone's brain, it's think about first eating things in the way that they grew, in the way that they come off the vine or out of the dirt, or the way God created them. I mean, that's what the first approach is, to try to look at them in that light and eat them in that way, without altering them too much. And of course, things can be chopped, and sometimes chopped is good in the sense of like broccoli and things like that. Phosphoryline happens when you chew it in your mouth, and that's a powerful antioxidant. But go back to basics and think about eating things in their most simple form as much as possible, and use those things and try to strip most other things out. Make things taste good. Healthy whole food tastes good. Cook with all kinds of spices. They're full of antioxidants. And those of you who are worried about your weight and things like that, you're going to do that completely free of any kind of concern or worry that they're adding something to your diet that they're not. Mm-hmm. The only thing that they're going to add is good flavor and antioxidants. They're going to make you feel good, and they're going to make your food taste good. And food was meant to taste good. It's not meant to be awful. So I don't want you to go through this process not enjoying eating your food. You should. If anybody has, I guess like the one thing I wanted to say was just, I'm going to sign off. But if people have specific questions in regard to nutrition, feel free they can reach out, or I know that you're going to have some space on the Facebook page that people can send questions, I think, and we can, right? Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll send out details about that.
Okay. So I appreciate everybody. Go forth and conquer. Have the best time with this.
Hey, Lasa, before you go, they're not seeing the things you posted there. I think, could you copy and paste it and then click when you on the 2 to all the panelists?
Yeah.
And then they'll be able to see that.
Yeah.
So on supplementation, and I know I was hoping to be done by 7. I'm going to try to cram through these real fast and get through this in the next 15 minutes. So I apologize for going over a little bit. Supplementation, I just want to touch on a few of these in light of COVID. Normally I would give a little more of a basic foundation of supplements, but right now I want to focus on the ones that are really particularly important for COVID-19 and strengthening your immune system in regards to that. Probiotic, a healthy gut equals a healthy you. 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So, and a lot of the things we eat today, a lot of the stress we have, a lot of the things in our environment, the drugs that we take remove the healthy bacteria from our gut, antibiotics, other drugs. And so we have a gut that doesn't have the right bacteria in it. So taking a probiotic is super important to do. Okay, so vitamin C is the other one. And so the things I'm going to touch on are probiotic, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and quercetin, okay? So vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and quercetin. Vitamin C is so important for your immune system and so many things. Your white blood cells actually go attack pathogens, and what they take to attack pathogens in your body, and pathogens are virus, bacteria, fungus, cancer, free radicals, etc. So they go and attack these things and kill them because they're like, this shouldn't be in my body. I'm going to kill it. What they take to kill those pathogens with is vitamin C. And so if you're vitamin C deficient, it's like shooting blanks. So your white blood cells are going to attack, but they're out of bullets. And so vitamin C is so important. And one thing, reports are coming in from ICUs that people are critically deficient. All the critically ill patients going into ICUs are like scurvy level deficient in vitamin C. And some of the people were actually they couldn't even find it. Like it was untraceable amounts of vitamin C in their bodies. And so and the other thing is they found that in people who died, the vitamin C levels were even lower than those who just were critically ill. So I think that's a really important thing. And I think there's a guy named Thomas Levy, a doctor, and he says, vitamin C has already been researched more than any other supplement or pharmaceutical drug in the history of the planet. And there's a website, orthomolecular.org, and that will be shared with you in a document that has 80 years of clinical data about vitamin C and other vitamins and minerals and how they've been used to treat disease. So, well, before I go into D, were you going to head out, Lasa?
Sorry. Yes, I was going to say this before you get entirely off vitamin C.
Yeah.
And you might have mentioned it before. Vitamin C and sugar, refined sugar, have nearly identical molecular structures. Mm-hmm. And so this is a very interesting thing. They both fight for the same space in your white blood cells, which are, those that are going to fight for immunity and when you have inflammation and things like that. They're the ones that are going to attack foreign invaders. And so when you're eating sugar, essentially it's kind of a 50-50 shot of what can uptake into those white blood cells, whether it's vitamin C or whether it's the sugar. The sugar causes glycation of the cells, which can cause the cells to tweak in shape. And so it can cause issues and really sugar is much more the cause of issues with cholesterol than really fats are. But sugar is going to crash your immune system if it's already low.
Yeah.
And so because those two are really similar in structure, they're fighting for the same space to help support those white blood cells. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's kind of funny because for me, I'm a very visual person. So I imagine those two things both trying to fit like into the same spot in my cell. And which one do I want to go there? And so sometimes I can talk myself out of putting something bad in because I'm thinking about, do I want to feel good? Am I going to be, what am I going to be exposed to? And, pre-COVID, you're out in public, you're out around a lot of people. I'm training people face-to-face, one-on-one. They're breathing heavily. They might, they have body fluids. I'm coaching in, places where you might have 500 people in a gym. And so you're thinking about things like, I'm going to be exposed to a lot of people I don't know and a lot of things I don't know. So do I want my immune system to be pumped up, or do I want to eat this donut that sounds really, really, really good? Probably not today. You know what I mean? Like you can talk yourself out of some things sometimes when you know the reasons behind how they work. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that's really interesting about sugar and vitamin C being the same molecular structure. When they want to take a picture of cancer in somebody, they give them a radioactive sugar drink. And I think that's because it goes straight to the cancer and then it lights it up. And so I think that's because your white blood cells, just theory that your white blood cells are taking that sugar to the cancer because they think it's vitamin C potentially.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a very weird. A lot of our cells have kind of this lock and key structure. So it's like what fits that lock. And for vitamin C, it has vitamin C and sugar have a similar like space that they lock into in the cell. And so while our vitamin C boosts the resiliency of the cell structure and makes it more malleable and flexible and all those things, sugar actually oxidizes the cell and creates, if you can imagine, something that's more stiff and rigid and can change the shape of the cell entirely. So certain things that should exit out of the body might stay in circulation longer in the blood or and not get out of the blood, that become worse for the body. And that sugar does that. And because of that, it affects not only like plaque in the arteries, but also plaque in the brain, which is so, especially, I think a lot of people are focused on body health and sometimes obesity and diabetes and all those things, and heart disease, which are clearly really important. But a lot of people are missing the fact that this also causes massive inflammation on the brain. And right now, more than ever, think of how much we have an increase in mental health issues with anxiety and depression and a wide variety of things. And so sugar inflames the brain the same as it inflames other areas. So that is one thing that if you could focus on reducing it, removing it, it would be huge.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, thank you for that insight. Really appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Yeah, that's really interesting. You know, there's actually a psychiatrist who started out conventional and treating people with drugs, and then she started going half natural, and then eventually she went all the way natural, and now she won't even see people unless they're willing to change their diet completely. And what she gives a story of a woman who she saw that this woman had been in a mental institution, and she was on 3 pharmaceutical drugs for her anxiety and panic attacks and depression and lots of complications. And she went in, and after 3 weeks of changing her diet, she was no longer had anxiety, no longer had depression or panic attacks, and was off of her prescription drugs. So that's a pretty powerful story. And another thing is, the thing about what they're finding is the same things that cause heart disease cause brain issues, like Lasa was talking about, like Alzheimer's. A lot of times the cutting, you know how plaque and cholesterol and all those kinds of foods and sugar injures the arteries, and oil and cholesterol rich foods, and it cuts off the blood supply, and it makes it harder for blood to pump. And the same thing when you inhibit the blood supply to the brain. And I've seen they've demonstrated it where those types of foods, sugar and fatty foods and processed foods, actually damage the artery walls. Another thing I've heard it said that eating the standard American diet, which the acronym for is SAD, unfortunately, it's like hitting your shin on the coffee table 3 times a day and wondering why it always hurts. And it's like 3 times a day we go to the wrong food, and right when our body's about to recover from it, we put another injuring food substance in our bodies. Okay, so let's keep going on supplements. So vitamin D is super important for the immune system. And like I said earlier, sugar and high fructose corn syrup was actually in a study they did that showed that high fructose corn syrup, and I imagine it's other sugars too, it's just that they used high fructose corn syrup in the study, actually wrecks vitamin D's ability to regulate your immune system. There was recently a study, or several studies have shown that people who have good vitamin D levels have shorter and less symptomatic cases of COVID. There was recently over 200 scientists and doctors who wrote a letter about vitamin D to world leaders, saying that they needed to add it to COVID treatment. And I know in a lot of places they are starting to. But these doctors, all who signed the letter, all wrote how much vitamin D they took every day and how much they recommended. And 90% of it was like 4,000 or 5,000 a day is what they all took and what they recommended. Okay. If you live below the 35th parallel or above the 35th parallel, which is basically like San Diego, if you live above that, you are not getting enough vitamin D via sunlight. So you need a supplement. You need more in the winter and less in the summer. But what I have a detailed thing about these supplements that I'll send out to you guys called Simple Tools for COVID and Life. Okay, let's talk about zinc. Zinc stops viral replication in multiple ways. It prevents the virus from hijacking your DNA. It prevents the virus from replicating, and it also prevents the virus from entering the cell. So zinc is very important right now. So actually zinc in your food gets to the cell quite easily, but zinc in supplement form doesn't get to the cell as easily. And so that's why what you need is what's called a zinc ionophore that helps open the cell to zinc, and it helps to the zinc supplement, and it helps carry the zinc. So quercetin opens up the cells in your body so zinc can get inside. So think of it as quercetin is the key and zinc is the repairman. So quercetin opens the door to let the repairman into the cell. Okay. Right now we found this deal. We got a bunch of these C, D, zinc, and quercetin packages, in the store here. It's a month supply for just like 20 bucks. It's on sale for a limited time. So if you don't have any of those things, come get them. I could also show you, any of us here can show you those vitamins and which ones we take. Again, the orthomolecular.org is a great site for information on vitamins and 80 years of clinical data that has been shown how vitamins and minerals. Orthomolecular means, is from the Latin meaning the right molecule. And so the premise behind orthomolecular medicine is, instead of taking a foreign drug or pharmaceutical or chemical to treat disease, they're taking the right molecule or something that's naturally occurring in the body, like vitamins and minerals, to treat disease. And what's interesting is they find that a lot of the studies that have been done with vitamins and minerals use very low doses that are not effective. The only doses that have clinic therapeutic effectiveness are very high doses. And anywhere, I mean, we won't get into the details. I'll give you some resources for that. So let's get into water. I'm gonna bounce through these last few points really quick. I think we all know why water is so important. I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen here with the program. Okay. Okay, so supplements. 1 point for every vitamin, mineral, herb, probiotic, or beneficial supplement taken each day, a max of 5 points. So if you take vitamin C, D, zinc, quercetin, and a probiotic, there's your 5 points, but that's all you get. Or anything, you can take anything that you're taking, but all you can do is 5 a day. That's a pretty easy one to get points on if you're taking 5 things a day, which I take plenty of more than that. Okay, water, 5 points per day for drinking half your body weight in ounces, 3 points per day for 1/3 your body weight in ounces. So I weigh 160 pounds, so I get 5 points if I drink 80 ounces a day. I figured out exactly how many of my water bottles that is, and I drink that every day. I actually, first thing I do when I wake up is I drink 2 mugs of water before I have a cup of coffee. I fill my mug up twice with water, I take my probiotic, and then I have my coffee. Someday I might give up the coffee, but I'm not there yet. I think 1 to 2 cups a day is no problem. So water is just so important. I'm not going to get into the details of that. I think everybody knows how important water is, and most of us aren't getting it. And juice doesn't count. Nothing but pure water counts for this. Or herbal tea. I would give you herbal tea, but that's it, other than just straight water. And I'm okay if you add like lemon or lime to your water. Sleep, 5 points per day for 7 to 9 hours of sleep, 3 points for 6 to 7 hours. So I made an adjustment this time where you can get 3 points if you get 6 to 7. Okay. But if you get less than 6, 0 points. If you get more than 9, it's 0 points. Okay. Actually, sleeping over 9 is not good for us. Exercise, 5 points for every 30 minutes of exercise. Steps count too. So every fourth, if you have a pedometer and you walk at work, every 4,000 steps equals 5 points. You can get up to 10 points per day. So an hour of exercise or 8,000 steps, that's 10 points, okay? What I would encourage you to do is, what's the best exercise that will reduce every kind of disease and will increase your happiness and your immune system and your overall health? What's the one exercise that will do that? It's the one you will do. So whatever one you do, that's the one. Find something you like to do. I like to golf. I don't ride on a golf cart. When I golf, I walk, because what's the point? And it's another way for me to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, to get some exercise, get fresh air, do what I love, recharge. I do some workouts at home that I like to do, and I do some running and different things, hiking, all kinds of things, whatever you like to do. I don't care if it's walking around the block or CrossFit. We need to get moving, and we need to do that every day. You know, it's okay to take rest days once in a while, and I typically do. I mean, to some extent, I don't do like hardcore workouts every day. Sometimes I have a rest day. And I think a good rest day is important for your body's recovery. But, you know, I don't think walking, you don't really need a rest from walking. I think you should try to, you know, definitely move and stretch every day. Sunshine and fresh air, so important. You know, we need to get outside and breathe deeply every day. Diseases, including the dreaded lung cancers and all other forms of disease, thrive in a low oxygen environment. So you want to make sure you're getting that fresh air and breathing deep. Sunshine is so important for that vitamin D. Even in the winter, if you can get out for 15 minutes, that's great. Screen time and sitting. They say sitting is the new smoking. So, you know, and we all know TV will rot our brains. So let's just, we don't really need to talk about this. We know why this is bad for us. We know we should limit it, and let's get up, let's move more, let's stretch more, let's engage with people more and less with the screen and less time sitting. You know, if you're at work during your day, try to get up every hour and move and stretch. Set an alarm, set a timer if you need to. Socialization, I wanted to add this in the small groups this time. It's so important. Socialization improves mental health, improves emotional health, decreases depression, improves our confidence and self-esteem, increases quality of life, reduces blood pressure, increases brain health and cognitive function, reduces Alzheimer's, boosts immunity, reduces risk of cardiovascular disease, reduces risk of cancer, reduces on and on and on, and increases life expectancy. So this is a really important thing, and we need to be doing this to the level that we're comfortable, to the level that we can with our friends and loved ones. And I encourage you to do that however you need to do that, okay? Let's talk about spiritual and mental health. This thing we're doing on our phones where we're scrolling, you know, we scroll, that's called a feed for a reason. We're feeding our brains something, okay? So we need to be, the idea of the spiritual mental health is talking about not only what is coming into our brains and our minds and our hearts every day and coming into our spirits every day, what we're feeding our soul every day. Is this positive and uplifting and bringing us, you know, closer to God, or is it the opposite? Or is it bringing us negativity? I mean, I can't remember the last time I got off scrolling through social media and was like, whew, man, I feel so refreshed and just, you know, revised by this. It's just like, no, I feel kind of like down and like, wow, you know, it's not, social media has not like boosted my sense of my confidence in humanity lately. So I think getting away from that, you know, maybe your goal is to stay away from social media completely, stay away from the news, you know, and feed. I know for me, I really practice feeding my mind this year and feeding my heart things that are going to uplift me. I've been trying to spend time in, for me, that's devotion with God. That's prayer to God. And I spend time in the Bible, but whatever that is for you, is music, meditation, thankfulness practice, time in nature, whatever helps you fill yourself up with things that are going to, you know, this is the Bible says, out of the mouth speaks out of the overflow of the heart. So what are we filling our hearts up with? And then the other part of the spiritual mental health is being others focused. A doctor once said one of the biggest causes of mental illness was self-focus. And so if we want to, in these kind of negative thinking, you know, 9 out of 10 illnesses originate in the mind. Fear, anxiety, anger, unforgiveness, negative thinking, and stress wreak havoc on the immune system and your overall health. Conversely, faith, trust, love, forgiveness, positive thinking, and a relaxed mindset are life-giving and health-preserving. Turn off the news and social media. Start a thankfulness or prayer journal. Read and watch uplifting or educational material. Spend time with people who focus on the positive and build you up. Okay, and that's a big part of the small groups that we're doing too, and the socialization. That's a big part of that. The small groups, this actually came from the Daniel plan, and the odds of us succeeding in our health journey are so much higher when we have the accountability, the support, and the encouragement of our friends and people who are engaged in it with us. And so everybody who's signed up this challenge is committed to their health, and we can do it together. That's so important. Okay, so let's talk on the points. If you have any questions on how the points on any of that work, let me know. Bonus points, there's a movie list, there's a book list. You get points for each of those. You get a max for the entire challenge of 50. Whatever your personal goal is, your personal goal can be something on this list that's already there, or it can be something that's unique to you. It's totally up to you. But if you set that goal and you do it every day, you get 5 points every day for it. Okay. So trying to sorry this is taking so long. I'm trying to wrap this up for you. So every week you're going to send your points to me at blake@naturespantry.life. Email those to me, please. All I need is the bottom number of points, your total right here. Okay. This is all I need is this total. And if you have the digital version, it will total it for you. If not, you have to total it yourself on paper. But just send me that number. Just email me that number. That's all I need. Okay, every week. And you're due, it's due Monday by 10. Okay, every Monday those are due. Challengers, I'm going to send out some details on the discounts to you. You're going to have to set up a loyalty account if you don't have one, because that's how I'm going to attach your discount. Okay, I'm going to make a note of that so I don't forget. Okay. Okay, your small groups. So the small groups, I'm still working on those. I'm going to send those out tomorrow. Everybody who's requested to be paired with certain people, I have honored those requests, but I've also put you with some other people. So just stay pointed for that. Yes, yoga is okay. Absolutely. Okay, let me see. There's a couple questions here. On the last category for nutrition, is it 3 points, 1 point per day per meal, or 3 points total for the day? The example is if I have a glass of wine with dinner, do I get 2 points or 0 points for that day? Yeah, so those 3 points are only if you avoid all of those things. So yes, you would get 0 points if you had that. I probably, you might be able to talk me into editing that a little bit for the next challenge, but for now, that's the way it is. And the other thing is, another thing is if you're going to have a glass of wine or do something like that, and this is a strategy of some other challengers have had, is they'll bank their points. Like maybe you have a day a week where you do that, but you do really strong most of the weeks, and then you take a rest. I think a rest is a really important aspect of this. And a lot of times, like I take a day off every Saturday and I don't work or do anything. And so I don't a lot of these things I will do as far as the health challenge stuff, but if I'm not doing it all perfectly, I don't worry about it. I take a day off from stressing about it or whatever, if it is a point of stress. A lot of these things for me bring me, rest too. So, you got to do what's right for you or what works for you. Yeah, I think, Julie, I think you guys are probably in the same group, but I'll check that. Becky, Coleman, and Julie. I think you probably are if you requested it. Okay. So this small group thing is a new thing for us. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. I thought it was a really good idea, but it's coming together. I got the groups lined out. There's going to be a few more adjustments. I've reached out to a number of people to be co-leaders for their groups to help kind of bring the group together and organize and lead out. And I've got some good responses on that. And then I think what I'll do, and let me know if you don't want me to do this, just email me. But what I'm going to probably do is send out an email to the group, just the group, with everybody in that group's contact info, so that it'll be easier for all you guys to get in touch and stay in touch. And so you can, however you guys want to stay in touch through this in your group is fine. In person, if you want to do that, in via text, via email, via Facebook. There's a really cool video messaging app called Marco Polo, and you can make groups on it, and it's a super nice way to stay in touch. However you want to do that, that's totally up to you. I'm just going to help get you guys in touch and give you kind of a facilitator. I've tried to put experienced people in groups with less experienced people. I've tried to put some health pros in groups too, as many as who are doing it. And so yeah, like I said, I will send out the contact info to your group of the people in the group. Let me know if that doesn't work for you or you don't want to do that, just let me know. Okay, and I'll send out a list of all the groups, just names, in an email tomorrow as well. And then I'll send individual emails to the groups just the groups with the group's info. And we just know we take your contact info very seriously, and we only use it. We would never sell it or share it or anything like that. Okay. We've done a Facebook group in the past. I'll probably get that going here so people can share with the whole group that way and encourage and be engaged that way too. I'll send out details about that. You can post pics of your food that you're doing, your exercise. You can encourage one another. Health pros will have involvement on that group. And so don't hesitate to engage with them or reach out to them. For the Facebook group, you'll have to be friends with me, and then I'll ask you to join the group. So I don't remember exactly how that works, but I'm going to send you a friend request. We got to be friends, and then you'll have to join the group as well. It's a Vibrant You Health Challenge #4 group. Facebook is not the basis of the program. You don't need it. We're actually trying to go away from that we've usually live streamed from Facebook. We're not doing that this time. So you don't need it, but it is a nice tool to stay in touch. Okay. We're going to have some cooking classes every week. I will send out details for that. We'll also have meal kits for those cooking classes that you can order online and come pick up here ready for you to go. And I will send out details about that as well. And we'll have the live stream cooking classes every Thursday night. Tim James is doing a raw wrap cooking class the first week, February 4. And again, I'll send out the details on that. Okay. So lastly, in closing, I'm just going to touch on the challenger commitments, and you'll get a lot of this information in an email as well. These are the commitments that I ask all the challengers who participate to commit to. Okay. So I ask each of you to have full effort in all aspects of the challenge, but also to adapt the challenge to where you are and to yourself. Keep it simple and achievable. Like Lasa said, pick one thing that you're going to focus on in this challenge and focus on that one thing. Don't worry about the whole list. Do that one thing, and you'll see a couple others will follow naturally. Participate in your small groups to the best of your ability. Follow the program guide so you can actually see results, which will motivate you to keep it up. Add in as much whole plant-based food as possible. Like I said, a strict plant-based diet is not a requirement. If you're like, I'm never giving up animal products ever, that's totally fine. I have some once in a while myself. The goal is not to eliminate all bad things in the world. The goal is to start adding in more good things. Okay. That's what we need to focus on, adding in the good things. Okay. Attend as many of the classes, the cooking classes we do in meetings. And we ask that you would support Nature's Pantry and support the health pros who put this on. Buy your ingredients and your things from the store. Support these sponsors, Lasa, Nicole, Tim, and Summer. You know, if they're a health professional particularly that fits you, reach out to them. And then commit to submitting your points on time every week. And then I ask that each person at least watch one movie and read at least one book on the list that I'm going to send out. And, you know, knowledge is the catalyst to change. And until we learn, until it comes in our head, we don't change. And so that's the first piece is the knowledge. And that's really what has inspired me to change my life and to help other people get vibrant health as well. And so, yeah, and just in closing, I just am so thankful to have you all doing this with us. We're the Nature's Pantry team here. Most of us have done this challenge multiple times. We love it. We get excited about it. We've seen big changes over time. And I just encourage you, remember that small habits lead to big change over time. And small little changes build on each other and lead to other small changes. And you know what? Health is the greatest wealth. So invest in your health because you are worth it. So again, welcome to the Vibrant You Health Challenge. And do we have any other questions? Looks like the books. Yes, we have several books. I actually ordered a bunch of cookbooks and some of these books like the Daniel Plan and Undo It and several others here at the store. So you can get all those books that will be on the list here at the store. You can also get those on, most of them are available on Kindle and Audible too. I listen to a lot of books personally and cookbooks. We have some cookbooks here too. I know a lot of people like my wife wants a hard copy Daniel plan book to read, and I know a lot of people like hard copy cookbooks. So we got some of those in, and yeah. So is there any other questions on anything before we sign off? Again, I'm just very thankful and blessed to get to do this with you guys, and I'm so excited and thankful for all of you who've signed up and the record turnout we've had. It's going to be awesome. I'm so much looking forward to it. You'll be seeing some emails from me tomorrow. So until then, have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.